For Inquiry 4.1, we're going to be observing the cabbage white butterfly's egg and larva. The instructions say for you to read the information and view the pictures below to learn about the life cycle and growth of the cabbage white butterfly. You'll watch this video to help you understand how to do the lab report. You will open and complete your lab report with CAMI. For the microscope drawings, you will use these two pictures. The first picture is the cabbage white butterfly eggs on medium power, which is 100x. The second picture is the cabbage white butterfly larva as shown on 100x. So if I go to my lab report on CAMI, my question says, what type of organism is a cabbage white butterfly? So for your hypothesis, you will tell what you believe a cabbage white butterfly is and because why. So think about its characteristics, think about what type of organism that it is, and then fill in your hypothesis. The materials for this lab are found on page 59, and the procedures are found in your book on page 61 to 63. In the data section is where you will put your microscope drawings. So I'm going to scroll down. In the first circle, you're going to draw what the egg looked like. So on the first line, you're going to put 100x for the power of magnification. And on the second line, in all capital letters, you're going to put that you're going to be looking at the cabbage white butterfly egg. In the second drawing, you're going to look back at the picture of the cabbage white butterfly larva, which is the caterpillar. You're going to put 100x on the first line for the power of magnification. And then in all capital letters on the second line, you're going to put that you're viewing the cabbage white butterfly larva. For the next part of our data, we're going to have to gather some information about the cabbage white butterfly or the cabbage white larva's body length over time. So we would be measuring the caterpillar stage or the larva stage over time. So there's a few things on your lab report or on your information on your assignment that can help you with that. So I'm going to go back to the assignment and keep scrolling down. You need to read this background information about the cabbage white butterfly. You need to view this information about its growth stages. It will tell you the average width of its head, so that gives you an idea of how it grows over time. Then you have this picture, which even though it doesn't show the whole caterpillar body in each picture, you can get an idea of how they grow from just a couple of millimeters all the way up to the really large size they will be when they start to go into their chrysalis stage. The next picture shows you the life cycle, starting right here with the egg, going through each of the different instars of growth as a caterpillar, then forming its chrysalis, and then emerging as a butterfly. And then the life cycle begins again. In the rest of this background information, it will go into more detail about what happens during each of the different stages. It also tells about things that the caterpillar will do. They produce silk. Of course, they produce waste. Then it talks about their metamorphosis. Then it goes into detail about the anatomy of them as an adult butterfly. Okay, then here you have the cabbage white butterfly's calendar. You can look that we start the calendar on day 1, which is the day when the eggs hatch. If we were trying to simulate this in real-time dates, we might say this was today. And then from there, by day 2, more of the eggs have hatched. Day 3, some of the eggs may hatch. Then you start to notice the condition of the radish leaves because the little tiny millimeter size caterpillars start eating radishes. And then they go through their first larval molt, which means they're in the first instar. Second larval molt is when they're in the second instar. Third larval molt is when they're in the third instar. And then they just keep growing. Fourth larval molt is here on day 15. Then they start to form a chrysalis sometime around day 21. And then by day 28, they emerge as butterflies. So you can use this calendar along with the different data from the background information to help you fill in your data table. Now, this data table is just for simulated growth. We're not actually going to be able to measure their size because they are a species that's considered a pest species, and we are no longer allowed to get these caterpillars to have at school. But you will use the information from the background information in the calendar to help you simulate the date that it would be. And if you want to, you can just put like day 1, day 15, whatever day it is on the calendar. And then I want you to estimate how big you think their body is and write down some observations of what they would look like at that time. For our purposes right now, since some of you are virtual, if you are a virtual student, you will not need to worry about the graph. But those of you that are in class, we will do the graphing part together. But those of you who are virtual, don't worry about the graph. When you get through collecting all of your data, you will answer the analysis questions. You have a few vocabulary words that you need to look up in the glossary in the back of the online textbook. If they happen to not be there, then you can use another online source like Webster's Dictionary. But please try to find these in the glossary in the back of the book first, because those are going to be the definitions that relate to how we're learning about these in class. And then the last stage of your lab report would be for you to write your conclusion. Your conclusion should be at least 5 sentences long. It should be a summary summarizing what you learned about the cabbage white butterfly, egg, and larva, and how the larvae grow over time.